We are back here on the Ringers podcast. Sorry for that. I only get 45 minutes on my podcast streamer to record, so I had to come right back here on the Ringers podcast. This is episode 80. It's going to give me a new episode here, so I'm fine with that. We are back at it, and the pick is in for the Miami Dolphins selection. I look at the Dolphins, and I think they're going to take a wide receiver here. I look at guys like Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. Could they go Penei Sewell to protect Tua Tagovailoa? Could they go Justin Fields? I don't think so. I think they're still on Tua. But again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here with this pick. You look at Miami, and there's a lot of great receivers in this draft. You look at them and you say, Jalen Waddle. I think this is going to be the pick for them. I think Jalen Waddle fits their offense great. Him and Devontae Smith both played for Tua at Alabama. I think it makes a lot of sense, though, if they go ahead and get one of these wide receivers. I would take Jalen Waddle. I think he's wide receiver, too. I think he's very impressive. And I just think you watch Waddle's tape, and I don't want to compare him to Tyreek Hill, but I think he's the closest thing to it. His speed, he's 5'8", he's a little undersized, but he's bigger than Devontae Smith, and I think that matters. There's a lot of size concerns with the Heisman winner, Devontae Smith. Great football player, but I just worry about his size. I think Waddle's more built for the blows in the NFL. But yeah, you look at this right now, and the Dolphins, the best player on the board is probably either Fields or Sewell. But I think they go ahead and take Jalen Waddle. I think they take a wide receiver and get some weapons for Tua Tagovailoa. The pick is in for the Miami Dolphins here in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft. Miami Dolphins could go either way here. I look at this, to me, if I'm picking for the Dolphins, I would probably take Jalen Waddle, but I could see the case for Penei Sewell. I could see the case for Rashawn Slater, and I'm not fully sold. Here's the thing. I'm not fully sold on Tua. I'm really not. I think he's a very good quarterback, and he was at college. But I look at him and I say, okay, he's a lefty, but he's a guy that is a little inaccurate at times right now. I worry a little bit sometimes about his his awareness and his ability to read defenses. I think that'll come with time. But again, you look at him and I say, what do we want to do? We want to get the most out of our investment. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get the pieces and let's build. Let's build this offense for Tua and Brian Flores in Miami. They had a very impressive year last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. But I think they're in a position here to add some talent on the offensive side of the ball. And it gets really interesting here because what if Miami goes ahead and takes Penei Sewell? What if they take Penei Sewell? I think they're all in on Tua. I really do. I think they're going to go ahead and take Jalen Waddle here. I just worry about Devontae Smith. I worry about him, and I just don't know if he can hold up in the NFL over extended a period of time. But again, he's a great football player. But what I would do here, if I'm the Dolphins, is, if I get a trade offer, okay, maybe. But if you're set on your guy, then go ahead and take him. Go ahead and take Jalen Waddle. Take Devontae Smith. I think Waddle's going to be the pick. You see guys like Penei Sewell starting to slip down the board. Boy, my Cowboys, it's going to be hard to pass on Penei Sewell at 10. I think this is a very interesting next couple picks here to see where Sewell goes. I can't see him slipping much farther. I mean, he's the best tackle in this draft. And here's the commissioner. Finally, it took forever, it feels like, with the Miami pick. Here's the 6th overall pick for the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Waddle is the selection for the Miami Dolphins. He is heading to South Beach to play with former teammate at Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa. Great pick. He's a great wide receiver. You see him dabbing up his former teammate at Alabama, Pat Surtain. Jalen Waddle, you watch his film, throw it on. He can do it all. He's got speed. He's a little undersized. He's short, but it doesn't really matter. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up outside. And I think he's going to be a great weapon. You see him hugging Devontae Smith there. I think he's going to be a great weapon for Tua and the Miami Dolphins and what they're trying to do. There he is shaking hands with Mac Jones, his Alabama teammates. A lot of Alabama players. You watch this draft and you say, a lot of players there for them. Devontae Smith, Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, Justin Fields. A lot of good players left on this board. for these teams. Detroit Lions at 7 now. Under 5 minutes left. The Detroit Lions made a big trade back in February. They decided to go ahead and trade Matthew Stafford to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Goff. And you think about it, I don't mind them moving off Stafford. It was an end of an era. I think they hired Dan Campbell. And he's biting people's kneecaps apparently in the war room right now. If you know what I'm talking about. If you know Dan Campbell in his press conference back in January, that guy is a nut job. But listen, Detroit, I think the Lions should go ahead and select. If you're not sold on Jared Goff as your long-term guy, take Justin Fields. I think honestly, Justin Fields would make sense. You could argue they should take Penei Sewell. Take Penei Sewell here and protect Jared Goff, or go ahead and get Devontae Smith. I could see Devontae Smith being the selection here for the Detroit Lions. They have literally no wide receivers. You want to know their receiver depth chart right now? Tyrell Williams, former Raider. Geronimo Allison, former Packer. And Quintez Cephas. If you're a Wisconsin Badgers football fan, you know who that is. And folks, that is not a strong wide receiver depth chart. No offense to those guys, but that's not it at wide receiver in the NFL. Devontae Smith would instantly be the best receiver on that team. But again, I can see all the arguments. I can see taking Justin Fields if you're not sold on Jared Goff. I can see Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater protecting Jared Goff and getting the generational tackle. I could see the Lions going corner here. They took Jeff Okudah from Ohio State, 3rd overall last year, and he was horrendous as a rookie. Only posted 1 interception for the Detroit Lions. If you want to go ahead and get J.C. Horn, Pat Surtain, there's some good corners here. If it's up to me, I think the Lions are going to go ahead and take Devontae Smith. I just think they're going to take the wide receiver because their receiver position is so bad that they need to go ahead and get wide receivers here for Jared Goff. Jared Goff is not a bad quarterback. I really don't think he's bad. He's been to a Super Bowl. He did some things in the McVay offense. He is limited. He's limited as a quarterback, as many are, right? But Jared Goff is a guy to me that he has an explosive arm, and if you get a guy like Devontae Smith as a deep threat, I think that's money. I think that's money for the Detroit Lions. So I think it's interesting. You look at this and you say, all right, what are we going to do here? Are we going to take a receiver for Goff, or are we going to take a tackle? So this pick is interesting to me. I'm surprised the Lions didn't trade out. I thought maybe they were going to be a team that would trade out. Look at maybe trading out with New England, maybe a team that needs a quarterback like Washington, Chicago, teams like that to get up. Maybe Denver hops 2 spots to get their guy because I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is the long-term solution at the quarterback position. So here is the pick for the Detroit Lions. Commissioner Goodell is supposedly heading to the podium. I don't know what's going on here. They're doing an interview actually with Jalen Waddle. My fault. I'm looking at this for the Detroit Lions, and there's a lot of people that are questioning Jared Goff. There's a lot of analysts that have said, I don't think Goff's a long-term guy. There are people that say they're going to give Goff an opportunity, as they should. I think they should absolutely look and see, what are we going to do? Do we want to get a receiver for Goff? Do we want to take Justin Fields? Justin Fields is intriguing here. He really is. I look at Justin Fields, and I say, you could sit him behind Goff for a year, see what you got in Goff. And if Goff's horrendous, then cut him, right? But you got to give him that. They did take on Goff's contract, and he was making a good amount of money. So you want to see if you can get anything out of that investment. But Fields would make a lot of sense here. There's no doubt about it. I think Justin Fields would be a good fit in the Motor City, and they need a new era. I don't know if Jared Goff is the long-term answer for the Detroit Lions, but we shall see. If you are tuned in here on the Ringers podcast, thank you so much for joining me. I've been looking forward to this night for a very long time. Draft day, the whole draft process, the weekend is one of my favorite parts of the year. I'm a draft nerd. I've been loving the draft since I was, 5th grade, 6th grade. Wasn't invested in it as much now as I am as I'm older. Got the, film studies, the equipment and all that, and microphone. I'm really into this stuff, as you can tell. This isn't something that I just put together overnight. I've been studying these players for a long time. I know I'd like to say I have a good grasp on what these players are good at, what they're not good at. I think, as I'm giving each analysis, I hope you're enjoying it. And if you aren't going to listen to the whole thing, I don't blame you. It's a long draft. And I don't even know if I'll be live after the 20th pick or so. It's a long time to talk for 3 hours nonstop. I'm probably going to get a little tired on this, but I'm very much in tune to this right now. I'm enjoying this draft so far. A lot of big picks so far, and a lot better things to come. I'm very interested in the Dallas Cowboys pick, not just because I'm a fan, but there's a lot of good players left on this board. Pat Surtain, J.C. Horn, Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell, Justin Fields, all still on the board. It's going to be a tough pick for the Dallas Cowboys here. And Denver, see what Denver and Carolina does. I think Detroit goes ahead and takes, I'd have to say Devontae Smith. I really would. Commissioner Goodell is to the podium with the Detroit Lions selection, with their selection. And the Detroit Lions went ahead and selected offensive tackle from the Oregon University, Penei Sewell. They selected him, and hey, listen, I don't fault them for this pick. Penei Sewell is a generational type tackle. He's an incredible football player. Obviously, this shows that they are invested. They are invested in Jared Goff for a few years at least. They want to protect Jared Goff, but man, I worry about the Lions' skill position. I don't necessarily agree with this pick. I love Penei Sewell as a prospect. I do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I hate Penei Sewell, but I would have went with skill position. I would have got Devontae Smith here. Listen, you can't trot out a receiver group with Tyrell Williams, Geronimo Allison, and Quintez Cephas. I just really think they have Hawkinson, the tight end, and he's promising, but I just don't agree. I don't agree with this pick. I would have went with Devontae Smith. But Penei Sewell, again, he could go to 8 Pro Bowls. He could be a Hall of Famer. He has that ability. I've watched his tape 5 times at least over the last few months. Penei Sewell is unbelievable. You see him. He's got the run blocking ability, the pass blocking ability. A little shorter arms for Penei Sewell, but he's a monster. He's a monster, and he can protect Jared Goff's blind side, I guess, for a few years. It's a great pick. And, he's off the board, and I thought maybe if he slipped to 10, I thought the Cowboys would take him with Tyron Smith's injury history. I thought maybe he'd be an option for the Dallas Cowboys, or maybe even the Carolina Panthers at 8. Carolina Panthers are now on the clock with the 8th overall selection. They just traded for Sam Darnold a month ago. They actually just traded yesterday Teddy Bridgewater away to the Denver Broncos. You look at Matt Rule and Joe Brady in this offense. Sam Darnold, they have Christian McCaffrey coming back. They have Robbie Anderson and also DJ Moore. They exercised his 5th-year option today. I think Carolina's in a good position. I think they're in a good spot. I look at them and I say, all right, there's been reports that they're in love with Rashawn Slater, the tackle out of Northwestern. That'd be a great pick. That would be an unbelievable pick to protect Sam Darnold. He can play guard. He can play tackle. I think it's an excellent selection if they go ahead and do it. Carolina could also look, do they go Justin Fields? Do they take a quarterback? They very well could take a quarterback here. It'd be a kind of a shot, at Sam Darnold. But absolutely, this is interesting to me. This is interesting to me what the Panthers do here. Do they trade out or do they make the selection? I think they can go ahead and make the selection, but there's got to be teams calling. I'm surprised there hasn't been a team to trade up yet, like New England, Chicago, Washington, a team that's, quarterback hungry. And but we'll see what Carolina does here. In this pick, there's a lot of good players still on the board. Do they go ahead and take J.C. Horn? There's been reports coming out the last couple days that the Panthers are infatuated with J.C. Horn. They love J.C. Horn, the cornerback out of South Carolina. Do they take Fields? Do they take Slater? Do they take Surtain? This is a very interesting pick for the Carolina Panthers.